a PR campaign for local government elections.
Yeah, this is for 2 cycles of continuous registration or plan. I would say that one could see a link in that the aim is to have the voters list or to be ready, to be quickly able to prepare a national register registrants.
One final follow-up, please. But the Honorable Prime Minister gave us the name of those cases to which a sum of money has been allocated. $41 million.
I have the list here. Civil Appeal 8, number 87, 2002, Veronica Delph versus Chief Elections Officer, Alan Brister versus GCOP, Veronica Delph again, Edu versus Sharma, Paris versus GCOP, Sharma versus GCOP. It's a long list.
Oh no, 10 years old.
10 years.
Mr. Chairman, 6294. There's a guard, 121 leak from over 200 million to 224. But the Honorable Minister say what they are expecting to spend this money.
This is for scrutineers and temporary staff in the agency to the 4th and 5th cycle. The payment of scrutineers and temporary staff for the 4th and 5th cycles of continuous registration.
Where? Go ahead.
I heard the Honorable Prime Minister talking about 2 cycles of registration. I know the 4th is going now. Could the Honorable Prime Minister say whether this 5th cycle is intended for 2013 and when?
It will start in September, but it depends when, if and when local government election is to be held. If it will be held at the same time, then it will not go ahead.
Honorable Minister, Prime Minister, would you be prepared, sir, within a specified time to lay off a copy of the list of the court cases that are pending, that princely sum of 42 million? Within a specified time, and you can indicate to the House, sir.
Yes, in fact, it may be available right now to be copied. We will submit it for copy.
With the list of the court cases, Honorable Minister, could I respect, Prime Minister, could I respectfully ask if the list that you have there also provide the name of the firms or the individual attorneys at law who are okay?
Sorry, sir. Mr. Chairman, through you, this list does not include the firms providing representation.
One firm, as far as I'm aware, that represents it's a William Conquered.
But the list that you presently have, you're making a commitment, Honorable Prime Minister, that you will circulate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Bass, Mr. Trevor Williams. Oh, I meant to say that there's a Trevor Williams in the papers who's been held for a murder. Bears no resemblance. No, I don't understand this discussion. We have a forces may have been concerned, and I wish to say on behalf that gentleman bears no resemblance to you, and I know that you would not have been. When I heard it, I was very concerned. I was just clear that the benefit of
The Honorable Prime Minister regarding this increase for children and such.
This is, Mr. Chairman, this is for training of GCOM's managers, improving their capacity through training, participation in electoral observation, and other professional development opportunities. Also, staff will travel to observe and learn how technology is being used in other electoral management bodies.
Just Mr. Chair. How line item 661? This one? Total travel and subsistence. Travel allocation of 62 million represents about 3% increase. And the other Prime Minister shares some light on this.
This is a provision, Mr. Chairman, for the planned 2 cycles of continuous registration, and it includes monies for traveling in intimate areas and for taking along scrutineers and feeding and housing perhaps. And it is particularly for mobile registration to get to those people who may not easily get to a fixed center.
Honorable Felix.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Line item 6302. Training included scholarships. I'd like to ask the Prime Minister if he can kindly indicate what this allocation is intended to cover for the $3 million.
I did refer to this. We don't have any breakdown, but I can say what I said just now. It is to provide for the managers of GCOM to gain experience through training and participating in electoral observation and other professional development opportunities.
Mr. Sharma.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, sir. $24 million is involved, is to be utilized in sending a number of persons for training in India and also in Brazil.
Mr. Sharma.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, before us get into the question, I just want to make a general observation. The observation is that a general observation in relation to the and it's an alarming story that they only spent $903,260,000 in a year that was promised to be was budgeted for 2012, $1,163,765, and with an expenditure of $1,056,245. With the election pending, there is an increase. With the election, local government election pending, there is an increase. The budget here figure is $1,669,765. The alarming situation is that comparing an election year against a budget with an election year, a general election with an election year, there seems to be some increases which need to be justified. But directly to my question, 6114, clerical loss support. There's an increase of 16 staff, and the increase in the cost is for $9 million. If we have explanation, and at least 5 of the staff salary and allowance will be listed.
persons to be paid under this head, I think from 177 to 193. I think that's the main source of this increase. Yeah, registration clerks 1, 2, and 3 are paid on this head.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In relation to 6115, there's an increase of one member staff. That translates to 6 million increase in cost. But we have the salary of that staff. And the donation.
There was quite a bit of movement. What we see here from 32 to 33 is just the net effect. Increases are related to that, I understand, Mr. Chairman.
The one staff that is there, that is the net figure, what is that staff standard?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have here the listing of the operatives at this level, 6115. We do not have it here with us. But I think that I can say that these are, I guess, relatively lower level persons, cleaners, drivers, handymen.
Mr. Chairman, for it to be a rapid turnover of staff and this figure to be in excess of 6 million showing one, it means that within the period of time the Minister of Finance had compiled this information here, there was a number of persons that came off the payroll. This had to be around January. So what was the movement in January in terms of the staff? How many persons came off the payroll for January?
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask for us to submit the details on it. There is some thinking here that an earlier increase in wages may not have been included, say, in 2012. And so, but what we're seeing here in 2013, the increases seems to be larger than it actually is. But we'll have to get specific information on that.
Thank you, Mr. 6116, the staff details reflected two member staff that are being increased here. But we have the designation of salary of these two members. The increase is $14 million.
Yes. We have a note here for 6160, Mr. Chairman, which I think applies to the earlier one, that the revision of wages for 2012 was paid for by the Ministry of Finance and so did not appear in our 2012 budget. But now for the 2013 budget, they have that and they have that included. Yes.
But there's still member increase. I want their salary and the pension.
One RO for Cameron, and he pays $204,000 a month. And there was also 2 AROs for some other positions for contingent and Cameron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to take any more time to go through it details. Just a general question for the Honourable Minister. The question is, in history since CR started, content registration, was it any time that VCOM executed 2 cycles of registration? In 1 year?
No, I'm told that it hasn't been done before, but it has been planned for this year. If there isn't local government elections, the second cycle will be run.
Mr. Chair, can the Honourable Minister say what is the cost for the remainder of the present CR? What is the cost in this amount here? What is the cost?
It will have to be extracted from the budget figures, the cost of doing a continuous registration.
Mr. Chair, could it be said it could be half of this amount?
No, sir, we don't think it will be half. We prefer to provide it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honourable members, just 1 minute, there's a small announcement. We are at 10 to 5, we are scheduling the day of break at 5, but we are nowhere where we ought to have been at 5 o'clock. There is one other incident, and that is matter to raise, and that is this. Honourable Prime Minister has to leave the chamber. Not too distant time from now. And I say the President is leaving the jurisdiction to attend the swearing-in of the President of Venezuela. So I would like us to deal with the matters for the Honourable Prime Minister as he's here. Because if we take the break for 1 hour, it will affect many things. It has to be a swearing-in. So I'm asking for your patience and for us to expedite things a bit, to go beyond the 5 o'clock. Thank you. Mr. Nadamutu.
Chairman, I would like, with your permission, to make a statement, and then I want to ask a few questions. The questions first, I have now a copy of the 6284, the order that the Honourable Prime Minister said there were allocations here for cases, pending cases. I have a list of a few cases, but the question I want to ask is that in 2011, it appears 2012, yes, $40,560,000 was paid towards these cases. And then 2013, the same sum is budgeted for the same cases, $40,500,000.
Does that list have costs to be paid in the manifesto Pereira? Those carriers that were awarded in 2001 were never paid.
That's good.
But what I'm saying, yeah, this has to do.
I'd like to make a correction.
Total. No, let me finish, Honourable Prime Minister, if you may kindly allow me to say this. because I'm a little baffled here. Maybe I'm missing something completely. That for 2014, we have a projected cost for the same cases for $40 million. And 2015, I don't know, I'm a lawyer, but I don't charge the same amount every year for the same case. So if the case is with me for 5 years, I'm charging 5 times the fees. Can the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, explain this? And I asked a follow-up on this.
Some of those cases are no longer going on.
Exactly.
Mr. Chairman, there was some error in the numbering, in the years. The total annual cost for 2013 and then indicative years for 2014, 15, 16. There was an error. So where it is 2012, there should be 2013. I think these are just projections, figures for what might be. They're projections for what might be.
Mr. Chairman, I'm hearing, I don't want to respond to what I'm hearing. These are estimates. Esther Pereira case, 2001. Why would we have a projection that will be finished in 2015?
Is it on the list? Is it on the list?
The plan was finished in 2006. Why are we getting a case like that projected into 2015?
I believe appeals may be filed in some of these matters. I'm not sure. Esther Pereira is an appeal, but I'm not too sure about some of the others.
Well, sir, this is the National Assembly being asked to make allocations. And the other one is that I found that $14 million recurrent from 2012 right into 2015 for the same new and amended prepare strategic plans and implementation. And then you have achieve integrity and transparency in internal processes of GCOM. Recurring these expenses, $6 million and $14 million a year. Are these things advertised, these services advertised to the legal firms?
The cases may be
Charges are not cases.
on the book, so to speak, but there's no activity.
We have not had an ombudsman or ombudsperson without for 7 or 8, let's say 7 years. Yet every year we pay money. Last year it was for 4 clerical staff. This year it's for 3, and that's been the pattern for the last several years. And my question to you, sir, does your government, this prudent government, feel it's a waste of money? Because what we do, we have 2 secretaries and perhaps a driver. I'm not going to ask you who the 3 people, but we have no ombudsman. So these are people who come in and they clean, and then they shut back up for 7 years. So the question is, would it not be more prudent to temporarily close the office, thereby saving taxpayers all this money, and when an ombudsperson is appointed, then the office can be reopened, because this is surely a waste of taxpayers' money. Yes, and I'm sure they will be transferred if you want to save, and I'm sure they're contracted employees anyhow.
Mr. Chairman, I think we would prefer to persist in finding an ombudsperson.
Question, honorable members, I put the question, that is that we approve the sum for agency 57, program 571, ombudsman, current expenditures, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no, the ayes have it. These are as part of the estimate, thank you. Very much. Turn your attention to pages 254 and 255, program 581, Public Service Credit Tribunal. Mrs. Butler, Deputy Speaker. As I just need a microphone. I put the question that we approve of the estimates for the current expenditures of the Public Service Credit Tribunal in program 581 Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Please turn to page 451 as I propose for your consideration. Capital expenditure for the Public Service Appellate Tribunal, Program 581. Honorable members, I put the question that we approve the estimate standing in Program 58. Capital expenditure for the Public Service Appellate Tribunal. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Please let us turn to agency 02, Office of the Prime Minister.
I think there's a, there is capital for, huh? Is it?
Yeah. I propose that we consider at pages 40 and 41. And we'll take some time to Agency 02, Office of the Prime Minister, Program 021, Prime Minister's Secretariat. Will all this then come forward? Members, I propose for your consideration agency. Yes.
On which there is a request for election education program.
That's a question
Yes.
that is being put.
What exactly?
The $1 billion could be seen as fuel here, and we have put out a sheet with how we ascribed the $6 billion last year. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, sir, the situation with GPL should be addressed from the background that the required electricity prices to sustain GPL is not charged out to persons. There has been maybe from the very early days in the 70s, from the time the electricity company was owned by the government, there seems to be that the prices set have been below the prices that are required. And I had produced during the debate, Mr. Chairman, a sheet which shows the foregone revenues year by year. This year, 2013, is projected to be $6.4 billion. Last year it was $8.0 billion. And this money, the government seeks to make up in a number of ways. There is also, Mr. Chairman, the government, in this period being owner, provides for the expansion of the company as it seeks to meet the increasing demand. And the demand for electricity, peak demand, has risen over the last 20 years from 33 megawatts to 87 megawatts in Gamararo. So there's two sets of monies that the government needs to provide to keep GPL, even if the state of the days, it's not gold plated for sure. These monies are required. This year, to answer more directly why is it reduced on this line item, is that this year we are showing, we are asking for some $8 billion, I think, to GPL, or $7 billion to GPL on the capital side, in addition to this $1 billion.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I 7 or 6 or 10. But that's not before it's not. That's just the Prime Minister. But it would help, I think, whilst preparing it assist the Prime Minister, shows a clear distinction between the two sets of tables. In other words, as the Prime Minister himself indicates, the funds, monies given to GP are fungible. Yeah. So it would be better and more transparent if they were put in a single table rather than split in this way where looking at one may get the impression that there is a smaller amount asked altogether. In fact, if you compare what happened last year with what happened this year, but they're not used for current capital expenditures. They use them across some of the capital and they use for other things. So the question is one I hope that the Prime Minister will address. Okay? And the table that is being provided, I think we need to come back to the table far from clear. It would help, I think, whilst one asks what has happened to the money that is being given, in order for it to be meaningful, since it's spent across different cost centers, it would be helpful to give us perhaps a single financial table in which we see all the outgoings, and then we can see how they can assign. Okay? But if I might just address this specific item, can you tell us, so far as it's meaningful, what assumptions underlie this request for 1 million as opposed to another sum? In other words, in terms of contingencies requests, are we budgeting? Can we be given some parameters so that we ourselves can determine whether when you come back for more money, it is based upon changing fuel costs or something else? Because to be truthful, I don't think we expect that this figure of $1 million for this, or that the combined figures that you give us will be roughly what you've asked for. Probably suspect it to be a little bit different.
This year in 2030, we are projecting that fuel costs would be 78% of sales. And so, right away, as the Honorable Member, I think indicated, Mr. Chairman, if there is change of oil, it makes a big change in our situation. If it's reduced, it's a good thing, but if it goes up, it puts some pressure. It would put pressure on the bottom. So fuel is the big one, some 78%. There are many other things, transformers and other things, meters and so on. But I think fuel is the big one here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, a figure of 78% in the context that I'm asking is not helpful because if it is 78% of sales, it also depends on how well you put sales. If you collect that,
okay.
So
the monies for budgeted for the year for fuel is $24.7 billion.
And what is the assumed price if you're going to use a Latin price at Curacao or wherever? What is it you have to look at?
We certainly don't want to be complacent, but the so-called losses in GPL are related to the suppression of tariffs. We have put out a table here which shows that from 2003, the tariffs have been suppressed by a net $27.8 billion. And also through that period of time too, the government has, ONA has provided another $22 billion in loans and equity investment. So I don't think we should start off by saying that these results in terms of our support from the budget are due to poor performance. We shouldn't start from that position. As I have said, sir, Mr. Chairman, the big issue with GPL is the losses, both technical and commercial, maybe about 14% technical, about 17% commercial losses, and certainly it is something that I feel embarrassed about, particularly the commercial losses, particularly when we compare through correlate the figures that are available. In Barbados, the losses, total losses are in the order of 7 and 8%. They may be in the order of 20% in Jamaica. But looking at Barbados, one certainly feels somewhat embarrassed about the losses. The technical losses we are working at with the program that is in the capital side here that's being completed to put in to upgrade the transmission. Also, we are working to reduce commercial losses in 3 kinds. Continuing to use moral suasion, where we passed in this honorable house here some legislation to be more coercive, to have mandatory prison term for persons who are found on 3 times stealing electricity, and with the work with persons from other jurisdictions that face similar problems. I think with work in particular with people from the utility in the Dominican Republic and others advice, we have embarked on a program of capital taking technological solutions, that is using different cables that are difficult to latch in and things like that, but that increases the cost to GPL for hooking up someone in an urban area, say from about $50,000 to $60,000 to maybe $250,000 to $300,000. And when you multiply that by that difference by 10,000, you start to get some significant sums of money. So I don't think it is right for us to start off from a position that GPL is necessarily inefficient and ineffective. That is full declaration on this page here, this allocation.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable members, it is 5 to 6, and we have yet to go Parliament office. Ms. Guerrero.
Well, it owes $16.48 contract, the $50 million for the micro hydro project in Cato. Benefit all residents 1 and 2. Will the other villages benefit also?
Yes, this is to establish a 330, I think, kVA small hydropower station on the Chiang River at Cato. It will benefit Cato. It does not include large networks, so maybe a central area. A secondary school is being established at Cato. A new secondary school is being established at Cato, and that would receive electricity from here. And this project also includes pilot or test agriculture, fixed agriculture on the savanna. It will provide irrigation, so it involves damming one of the valleys, narrow valleys, and pumping water to a fixed area to test fixed agriculture, fixed fields in the Cato area.
Thank you, Honorable.
It also involves a transmission line to Parliamentary to supply in particular the school that is already there, and I would expect many buildings in the top of Parliamentary there will also be included in a small way.
Thank you. Minister of Finance indicated some time ago that it's brilliant.
Mr. Speaker, very briefly, and mindful of the time constraint confronting us, in particular, because of the magnitude of the adjustments that have been proposed, I thought it potentially helpful for me to make just a few very brief observations. Let me say that all of the challenges to the electricity sector are, I believe, appropriately identified. Mr. Almutu spoke of the rain falling not in one's yard, but in one's neighbor's yard too, and we all confront the challenges that you get every day in our day-to-day lives. The reality is, sir, that there are no easy and immediate answers, there are no magic bullets to solving the problem. If there were, the Prime Minister would be happy for somebody to present to him or to aid him in discovering those easy answers or magic bullets. We share the concerns of our colleagues on that side of the House as it relates to fixing the challenges that are confronted by GPL. What we would urge is a recognition, a universal recognition in this House, that the reality is that GPL is facing a cost structure that imposes a burden that it is unable to carry at its current current. Of course, the challenge of losses, which was identified by my colleagues on that side of the House. So the reality is also that GPL requires significant investments in its capital that it is unable to meet from its own generated cash flow. And I would urge that this House would support the appropriations that are being sought and not cut them. And I would equally say, sir, that we avail ourselves, I would equally urge that we avail ourselves of the mechanism of the various parliamentary sectoral committees as an appropriate forum for us to put our heads together on this matter. GPL has previously appeared with the Prime Minister before the Economic Services Committee, and I'm sure they'd be willing to do so here. Thank you very much.
Other members, I will now put the motion in the name of Mr. Greenwich firstly, and then I will put secondly the actual motion for the adoption of the capital investments. Honourable members, the question is proposed that the motion in the name of the Honourable Member Mr. Greenwich be approved. That is that the sum sought for capital expenditure of 10,255,000,000 be reduced by 5,255,000,000.
Mr. Speaker, if we're going to a vote, we need to make some changes and ministers have to come in. There are quite a number of people outside.
Believe me, I wouldn't just go to the vote. I'm just going through the preambles for this vote. So, I propose to put that first. In the meantime, while we're doing the change around, Honourable Prime Minister, certainly for me, what I would have liked to hear, so that other members can comment, is what would happen to GPL if it did not get the amount sought. I think no one has really made that the case for every dollar reduced, what is the likely impact on the corporation's ability to function. But I've asked the Sanitarians to get the others to comment, so maybe it's something that you wish in the meantime to address.
Mr. Chairman, without this money, GPL would be having a hole of about 20% in what it requires to sustain itself. And some of it would probably end up in reduced purchases of fuel. Some of it would end up in reduced purchases of other supporting machinery, materials, transformers, and so on. I would like to entreat this House to accept, and we just have to look back. All along the prices we charge for electricity are about 70% of the cost. That's the situation we came and met. That is the situation we came and met where the IDP was demanding that costs be put to, that we charge the economic prices. But as policy, we have not been charging economic prices, and the costs incurred in GPL, we all wanted to be lower, but they're about the prices that people in our situation find. People who use fuel, people who use petroleum fuel.
The motion standing in the name of the honourable member, Mr. Carl Greenwich, be approved by the House. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against?
No! Division.
Division being called for, the vote taken, 33 members voted in favour of the motion, 32 members voted against it. The motion is therefore carried. I will now carry program 021, Prime Minister's Secretariat. Capital expenditure should be approved as amended. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Thank you. Those that approve. Honourable members, I urge that we turn quickly to consider program 07, the Parliament Office, current expenditure. Program 071, National Assembly. Page 60 and 61. Pages 60 and 61. 071. Oh, sorry. Mr. Greenwich, go ahead. Mr. Greenwich, Mr. Harmon.
Mr. Chairman, could the Honorable Minister state what are the items covered under the sum allocated to the office of the Leader of the Opposition for the sum of $8,180,000?
On the capital for the purchase of furniture for the office of Leader of the Opposition. He is aware, I'm sure, that in November 2011, a few days before the national election, an instruction was passed by a certain office to remove the furniture that was acquired for the office of Leader of the Opposition furniture, except for a few chairs. I'm quite aware of that. So I'm asking, where is the allocation now to restore the furniture which was provided for the office of Leader of the Opposition up to November 2011?
Other members of the Prime Minister needs not only the